All right, now dealing with the homeowner directly when there's no other agent involved, the dynamics are a little bit different. Sometimes easier, sometimes a little bit harder. It depends on your relationship with the agent and your relationship with the sellers. I find that for me, even as a licensed agent, it's a little easier to work with the sellers directly because I know what I know and I know that I'm going to be true to my word. I know that I can talk very clearly and provide a great level of trust, achieve a great level of trust with the sellers directly. I can't always assume that when I'm working through another agent. And I think that if you're an investor dealing directly with the home seller, you're going to find that's a little bit easier than dealing with an agent. That said, if you're dealing with an agent, you don't have to do the wholesaling part anymore. You don't need to do all the mailers. You don't have to do all the cold calling, the door knocking. You can just call agents that got listings and say, hey, I see you got this listing that's been on the market for 60 days. Hey, I got an idea for you. Would you care to meet? Right. I think you're going to find that the trade-off there is, are you doing your own marketing efforts or are you working with an agent? And you can do both. I personally like to do both myself. All right. So when you meet with those sellers for the first time, the most important thing is to understand their situation. Not everybody is appropriate for a cash deal or a sub-2 or seller financing. Some of them should sell on the open market, maybe as a for sale by owner on the off market, or maybe they should sell through an agent. And you just refer them out to an agent, and that agent, maybe they give you a finder's fee or something like that. Start partnering with agents because they will probably appreciate the fact that you bring them deals that you can't close, because not everybody is your ideal client. Let's talk through the numbers. I mean, let's face it, to get to a closed deal, most people pay between $2,500 and $3,500 in marketing, right? Make sure you know the motivation for selling. What are their buttons and what do they need? What are the problems they need to achieve? Do they need to close soon or do they have time? Do they need most money or little money? Do they have a lot of equity or little equity? Answer all those questions and you can start crafting an offer. Don't try to do a sub-2 offer on every single deal. Well, you can. Don't be surprised when people start looking at you sideways. We have lost deals where we were like, hey, we were going to buy this cash. And we said, hey, what about a sub-2? And all of a sudden they go, you're sketchy. And they walked away. I'm like, no, we're not. We're just seeing if we could offer you more money. But then the deal went away. We lost it. Right. Okay. Too bad. Lesson learned on our part. You got to really feel people out. Are they appropriate for all of your different methods of creative financing? Number two, when you're dealing directly with the homeowner, is you're going to have to figure out yourself that due diligence of, let's look at, do they have any liens? Is there anything with the property? Are there any disclosures that if you're going to flip this thing, is there any disclosures that you're going to make that suddenly you go, oh crap, I didn't know that it was used to manufacture methamphetamine. I have to disclose that. Oh yeah, that's a thing, right? Make sure you know the answers to all those questions. That's a big deal. You may want to consult with a real estate attorney. Great idea. You may want to consult with a real estate agent. Great idea. All good things when you're dealing directly with those homeowners. Make sure that you've done your homework so that when you turn around and put it on the rental market or on the flip market or whatever you're planning to do with it, that you can represent the property properly and legally. All right. Number three is evaluate the mortgage. What I do is I talk to the sellers. I say, hey, would you mind if I ask you a personal financial question? They'll give you permission. 99 out of 100 times they'll say yes. You say, okay, what do you owe on the property? And they'll tell you, say, do you by chance have a recent bank statement, mortgage statement? It doesn't matter when it was from. 5-6 months ago is fine, whatever. For this point, you go, oh, okay, I see this is from 6 months ago and this is your balance. Are you current on your, well, be careful how you say it next. Sometimes I'll just say, hey, are you current on your payments? Because it looks good. But a lot of times I go, well, how far behind are you on your payments? You'd be surprised how often they say, I'm just one payment behind. Because when you just make that assumption, it's non-judgmental. If on the other hand, you say, hey, are you behind in your payments? They might lie to you and say, no, I'm not behind, when in fact they are. Say, well, how far behind are you? I'm only 2 payments behind. Oh, okay. Hey, can I ask a favor? Yeah, sure. I want you to call the bank. I want you to get a payoff statement and a current statement and find out, if we were to pay this thing off in the next 30 days, what do you owe? And what do you need to get current? And what's the minimum you can pay where they stop foreclosure proceedings? If you could answer those 3 questions, you really have a good opportunity to craft the perfect offer for these sellers. So what I do is I'll put that in writing. I'll say, hey, you need to call your bank. Call them today. You can do it right now if you want, but I'll leave and have a conversation and have them email you the answers to these. Boom, here you go. And then the next day, almost without fail, if they're legitimate, they're going to send you the answer. And it's a thing of beauty because now you can look at it and go, now I know exactly what the problem is that they're trying to solve. Because before, they're going to tell you, I'm trying to sell my house. When in reality, they're just behind in their payments and maybe they don't need to sell. they they have already reached to a conclusion, a solution that may not be the best one, and you can help them with that. All right, so now you're talking with them. You want to make sure you build trust with those folks. And it's no different than when you're working with a real estate agent. Give them references. Don't just cold text them. See if you can get them on the phone. Say, hey, I've got some reference. Would you like to talk to the attorney that I use? You can talk to people who have been just like you, who've done this before. Look at my Google review, 5 stars from somebody who sold Sub2. Holy cow, what an amazing reference that is. And that goes a long way towards, for your sellers, building trust in you. I can almost guarantee your sellers do not know the phrase Sub2 or subject to. Don't ever use that phrase. You can say, hey, I can take over your payments, and say that, and you go, and they'll assume that you mean assumption. And we say, it's not an assumption. I'm just going to take over your payments. What's going to happen is you will sell the house. I will take over all the responsibility to pay these. Unfortunately, it's going to remain in your name. What that allows me to do, fortunately, though, is offer you a higher price. Here's what I can offer you. And it's a plus and minus, and it's a give and take. Now, and if it doesn't work for them, it doesn't work for them. And that's okay. You're going to educate them. And if it works, you want them to come to you. Matter of fact, I have a personal thing. I will make people tell me 3 times that they want something. So if I'm dealing with somebody, whether it's a seller, a buyer, or something, I go, hey, so why do you want to sell this home? Why not rent it? Well, words. Okay, that makes sense. Have you thought about just staying in the home? No, I want to move it. I want to do this. Okay. Have you thought about maybe just refinancing and doing something? No, that doesn't work. Okay. So we've really decided we want to sell it, or we really want to move. Yes. Okay. Got it. And so I will make sure I will give them several opportunities. It's basically a reverse sales technique where you sit there and you say, I want to make sure that I am not getting to yes too quickly. Because if they say yes and you just assume they're being fully truthful with you, there's a good chance that they're going to back out of you. It's almost 100%, right? If you, on that first yes, if you just go forward with it, don't expect the deal to happen. If you can push them back and just say, nah, I don't know that this is right for you. If they say, well, maybe you're right, they were never going to close anyway. But you push them away, go, hey, I'm not sure that this is right for you. Are you sure? Because I really like that idea. I've had people call me up where I go, hey, I think we should put it on the market. Let's put a sign in the yard, do this, this, and this. And then a few days later, they call me up and go, hey, remember that offer where you said you would take over the payments? Yeah, I think we want to do that. Okay. Are you sure? Because I can do this over here and get it off your hands. Nah, well, here's the downside. Are you sure? Yeah. And then all of a sudden they come to me with their solution that I have provided to them. They are reaching out to me. That's a win, because now it's they want to do it, and now they're the ones that are going to give a 5-star review on Google for you because you're so awesome, because you didn't pressure them into it. You helped them understand, and they came to the conclusion on their own. All right. Open communication. I always want to have open communication with the sellers. I have a policy with my real estate team. We have something called the communication guarantee, where I tell my clients something. If you don't hear from me every week before Friday at 4, you are encouraged to fire me with nothing owed, right? Blow up the deal. That's how firmly I believe in communication guarantee. I have incredible success with that, because it forces me to stay in contact with everybody that I'm doing business with, even when there's no update. Hey, my Monday update is there's no update. Okay. And then I give them a Thursday update. Here's my Thursday update. Hey, something happened. Wow. Holy cow, that's great. So that's something that I do, and I encourage you to do the same, which is stay in constant contact. There's no such thing as too much contact. I'd even go so far as if you communicated every single day with everybody that you are in a contract with, you go, hey, today's the Tuesday update. Here's where we are. Here's what's next. Your next action is boom. Hey, no change from yesterday. Your next action is. And if you just keep doing that, they will never have a question, and it'll be the smoothest transaction you'll ever have. They aren't going to back out on you, and you're going to actually make a lot of money in this business. It's all about communication. Next item is professionalism. I talked about that when dealing with agents. I suggest you do the same here. You're going to be competing with wholesalers and other people that, let's face it, sometimes can be a little sketchy in this space, right? There's a reason I got licensed. It was to differentiate myself from other people in the group. Well, the other thing I do is I present myself in a professional manner. Right now, I'm just wearing a polo shirt. When I'm meeting with clients, suit and tie is typical, right? In the summertime, maybe it's just a shirt and tie. I'm going out there looking like I'm going into a business meeting at a Fortune 500 company, because that's how important I take it, and that's how much I respect these people that I'm meeting with. You need to make yourself look like that. Doesn't mean you need to drive a fancy car. Matter of fact, I recommend you not to drive a fancy car. Drive a normal, everyday car. Show up looking good, professional, show that you care. you've got a haircut, you brushed your teeth, and you're looking good with shine shoes. You show up like that, they're going to take you seriously. You show up in a muscle shirt and cargo shorts, nobody's doing business with you. They aren't going to trust you. All right. So professionalism matters. Oh, business cards. Have a website. There's all sorts of great cheap options out there to make that happen. Always use an attorney if that's appropriate for your estate. If you're using a title company, I personally always use attorneys, right? You can use a title company. It's probably just fine. Just whoever you use, make sure they've done creative financing deals before so that you know that they know what they're doing and that they can be a solid reference to the people you're dealing with. The other thing is you need to assure your clients they're going to have fears. They're going to have questions. The worst thing you can do is let them think about those without answering them. Okay? They're going to come up with their own answers and their own problems. So have an FAQs, a frequently asked questions. And it's going to be something as simple as, what happens? So I'm the buyer. We'll say that I'm the buyer. I'm the investor. I'm talking to the seller. I'm going to have my frequently asked questions say, what happens if I die? Right? That's probably, well, what happens if I stop making payments? Well, this is what happens. What happens if I die? Ah, well, here's what happens. What happens if I stop making payments and run off to Costa Rica? Right? So you got to go, those are the biggest questions they have. And they're going to say, well, what happens if I want to change the loan in the future? What happens if, it burns down? Who's going to handle insurance? Who's going to handle the taxes? How can I be assured that they handle the taxes? What if you don't? Who do I talk to? Who's going to hold the money? Who's going to pay it? You have to go through that whole process and make sure that all of those fears and questions are answered, and be upfront and honest about it. And you'll find that all of a sudden you'll get more deals from it. All right. In conclusion, when you're dealing direct with the home sellers, you're looking to solve problems. You're asking questions, and it's a combination of business acumen, business skill, and sales. Your job is to not convince people, but to educate them and let them come to the proper conclusion that you have already presented. All right. If you act in a professional manner and you divorce yourself from the outcome, you hear that all the time. Divorce yourself from the outcome, marry the process. I'm going to act professionally. I'm going to build trust. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to listen. And then I'm going to present a series of solutions and ask them, what part do you like best? What part do you like the least? And let's craft our offer until you go, this is the best that I can do. Does it work for you? And if they say no, hey, if anything changes, here's my card. Have a great day. I would love it if you could, talk to your neighbors about me as well, because maybe I can help them. And if they say yes, that's a deal. Great. Next step is you're going to hear from my attorney or whatever the case is. All right. So act professionally, build trust, ask questions and listen to the answers. And you're going to find that your ability to get deals and close them is going to go up exponentially. All right. That's all I got for today. If you got any questions, give me a holler. See ya.